Hello everyone and welcome to our educational channel. My name is Igor Gusakov and I'm IBP Software Director at Software Vendor and also Honorary Researcher at Lancaster University Management School. Today I want to share with you some thoughts on how to select a forecasting software. During my career I used to work in a CPG, that is consumer product goods companies, where I was responsible for forecasting and planning and also for forecasting software selection. Then working in a vendor, I managed to talk with a lot of companies, and now I want to share some thoughts on the topic. Well, of course, when selecting a software, there are some basic rules. You need, of course, to think about functionality. You need to prepare maybe a questionnaire and send it to a vendor. You can ask for reference visits and maybe ask for a demo stand, maybe ask a vendor to load your own data. That is all well known, and today I want to talk about something different. Well, in a company, when you select a software, there are basically four major functions, major departments who are responsible for software selection. First, of course, is the purchasing department. This is the department who define rules, like they can say, if we do steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in that case, we have selected a vendor and the software. That is very important, but the main selection process is done by three other departments. That is management, IT department, and basically users, those who will use this software. In case of demand forecasting, it's demand planning managers. So we're going to discuss these three functions and how they influence the software selection. Any software, actually, but we're going to talk about forecasting software. So we start with management. Management, while selecting software, they are responsible for such things as strategy and budget, of course. And what they think is ROI, that is return of investment. Like if we spend on a software that amount of money, how we're going to return this money. And in fact, what I want to say is that in forecasting software itself, there is no ROI. ROI lies further. It lies in stock optimization, supply chain optimization, production planning optimization, but not in forecasting itself. Why? Even if you can hire a person with paranormal abilities to predict exact amount sold, but then not going to use this information, you will not have enough product on stock. You will not supply this product. You will not produce it. So instead of trying to find ROI or persuade yourself that there is ROI in forecasting, the idea is to try to select a software which is part of larger ecosystem, which will cover the whole IBP, that is integrated business planning process. This is software which covers, as I said, stock optimization, supply planning, and production planning, and other parts of IBP process. Well, then there is an IT department, which is extremely important in any software implementation. This department is responsible for IT strategy, is responsible for security, for platforms and stack which is used in the company. They provide kind of a filter to select any vendor. For example, software IT department might say that the software should be only open source, just as an example. So if a particular vendor doesn't provide this, his software to be open source, it won't be implemented in your company. And often IT propose, maybe not only IT, management and demand planning as well, propose a forecasting competition. Why? Because it's a very simple and clear method to say that this particular software is kind of better than another because it provides better forecasting accuracy. But what I think is actually quite bad idea, and I will explain why. Forecasting competition implies that if a particular software on this particular data set have performed better than other, it will always be better. But in fact, it's not like that. In fact, what's happening is that maybe with the current set of the data, this particular method proposed by a vendor was better than the other. But data is changing. New data arrive every day. And with the new data, new patterns arrive. Maybe the seasonality might change, or a trend, or something else might happen. And this the method what was better before will not work as good further. What actually is better? It is much better to have in a company a special team of data science who will be working on forecasting on daily basis. If you have a team which specializes on development of forecasting methods, using new methods, trying to find a best way to forecast on your data, that means that in the software you probably need an ability to join an external libraries. So the second takeaway is that maybe instead of trying to organize a forecasting competition and thus choose a vendor, it's better to have a data science team inside your company, and the software which you're trying to select should be able to use an external libraries for better forecasting. Now, this third department, users. In the case of demand planning software, it's obviously demand planners. Demand planner wants the software to have functionality to cover their everyday needs. So of course, the software should be able to cover day-by-day tasks performed by demand forecaster, and it's okay to trying it's okay when you're trying to find the software with this functionality. But what happens even if the software is already selected and implemented? What happens next? Suppose on one day, as a demand planning manager, you have a new task which is not covered by your software. Then what you can do? You can, of course, ask a vendor, we need a new type of functionality, and could you please do it for us? And maybe the vendor will do it. But then a new task arises, and then you understand that vendor is a little bit slower than new task arise, because a vendor needs time to produce new functionality. They need time to understand what you need. They need time to develop it, time to test it, and then maybe it will take several months to do so. So what happens? When you cannot cover your daily tasks with the functionality of the system, you're going back to Excel. So first, after the implementation, you use a system, then you need a little bit of Excel, then a little bit more, and then you will find out probably that you're using basically Excel for the forecasting process. During my career in software vendor, I saw several companies which probably in a decade were through this cycle several times. For example, pretty large international CPG company came to us saying that they used a very well-known software from a vendor, but now they want to try a different software, and we implemented our system. Then for probably a couple of years, they returned and said that no, we are not using your system anymore. We're using Excel, and we're thinking about another system. Then they implemented this system, and in several years, they were still using Excel. So they came through this cycle 3 times in probably a decade. And that's, in fact, very, very common story. Why it happens? Of course, because Excel is a fantastic tool actually. It's extremely flexible, and so people like it and they do use it. So maybe this third takeaway is that instead of trying to find a software which will cover all the possible functionality you need, it might be better to find a software which already has Excel inbuilt instead of replacing it. Well, that's basically three takeaways which I would like to repeat in the end as a conclusion. So instead of trying to find a ROI in forecasting software, it might be better to find a software which is part of larger ecosystem covering whole IBP process. Instead of trying to make a forecasting competition when selecting software, it might be better to find a software which will allow you to use external forecasting libraries. And instead of trying to find a software which will cover all your functional needs, it might be better to find a software which has Excel inbuilt in it. Thank you very much for your attention, and hope these advices might help you to select a forecasting software.